Good morning. Hello. Welcome to a time of presence, of quiet, of introspection, of jokes, of being together in this creative space, in this creative life. I can feel a prayer coming on, so let's just do it. You ready? Let's inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Creator, Mother, Father, good, God, good, divine spirit that moves within us. We don't know what we need. We don't know what we're asking for. We only know there's an ache in our heart. There's an absence, a perceived absence in our lives. We come to this moment knowing that even the absence is complete, knowing that this moment is perfect, is whole, has perfect integrity unto itself, and we release ourselves into this present moment. Oh, here we are. Here we are right now. We've never been here before. We're not going to be here again. This moment, this set of circumstances, this breath. Now is the moment. Now is the moment we fall in love with our lives. Now is the moment we fall in love with ourselves. Now is the moment we fall in love with you. Now is the moment that we understand that there is no you, there is no other, there is only us, all of us together. There is only spirit. There is only breath. There is only this moving world, this breathing world we participate in. We release our judgments about things being good or bad, or the right time or the wrong time. We release our judgments about ourselves. We see ourselves as new and innocent, perfect. We see ourselves as God sees us, as our fairy godmother sees us. Oh, we say, there I am. There I am. That precious person. Trying so hard. Heart beating. Hands hungry for good work. There she is. There he is. I wonder how God will express through that perfect person today. Where's the opportunity right now to soften, to forgive, to see through or past an illusion of disappointment or separateness? Where is the perfection in this moment? Underneath what feels like pain, underneath what feels like unhappiness, underneath what feels like emptiness, is the rich molten core of the world. Let me say hello, core. Hello, love. Where are you leading me today? Love, where are you leading me today? Oh, love, where would you have me go today? Thank you. Thank you for doing that with me. I was Leslie says, on cue exactly when during the opening of your prayer you said us, up popped our precious feline companion, reminding me to put things in perspective. Lovely prayer, Sam. Thank you. My pleasure, Leslie. Yes, that was Cooper. The cats get very excited as I'm prepping for this call, event, whatever this is, because they feel my energy, right? Animals are only energetic. They respond, you know, Cooper speaks some English, the Chester, the little one, not so much. But they always know, you know, what's happening because they read me, right? And so as I'm sort of gathering my energy and trying to stay calm and focused, it's very important to me to try and show up to these events with nothing. It's called Sam Unscripted for a reason. Like I got out, you know, I even got out a pad and pen. I was like, oh, I should prep. And I thought, no, I shouldn't. It's part of my sort of spiritual challenge of this is to not show up with something in mind ahead of time. And it's a little faith exercise, right? And so yes, they get a little charged up. Now that we've started and I've calmed down a little bit, they're probably just going to take a nap. But you never know, they may drift back in. And I think that's a lovely invitation too, to see us as our animal friends, see us. I have a theory, actually. I'll tell you guys my theory. I was thinking about writing this the other day. So as far as we know, animals don't make up stories about what's happening to them. You know, they don't have, you know, they don't fail to catch a mouse and then think that means something about them, right? You know, they don't experience the feeling that they're disappointing their parents, or that that they're charmed, or that they deserve or don't deserve something. They just live their lives, right? They just do the actions of their life without a ton of commentary on what their lives mean. I remember being in Cambria one time with my then husband, and we were walking along the beach and we were talking about how beautiful it was, and we were talking about the arrogance and egocentricity of the feeling of like, oh, look, this was made just for us. Like, it's a perfect day just for us. And there was a little ground squirrel sitting on the rocks looking out at the ocean, just, just sitting there. We started, and I was like, is the ground squirrel having a moment of existential realization? Is the ground squirrel making up a story about how the ocean is particularly beautiful today because the ground squirrel had a need for the ocean to be beautiful today? And then I had this idea that, like, what if all of the plants and animals, what if the entire rest of the planet, other than humans, has like achieved enlightenment, right? They've given up the illusion of time. They've given up the illusion of ego. They've given up the story that there's a special meaning to one thing or another thing. And they're just enjoying and appreciating the world as it unfolds for them. And they're just waiting for us to catch up. Like, as soon as humans evolve, like, we can all, I don't know, transcend somehow. And they're just hanging out like patient, possibly occasionally exasperated. I feel like sometimes the animals get exasperated with us. Like, really? Martha Beck has a line in a book she wrote about walking the wonderful wild world, walking the wild world, something like that. It's a book about magic. It's very good. And she talks about how if a human being goes into the forest or into the savannah or into a place where there's a lot of animals, because the animals are responding to your energy, like if you've got a lot of chatter going on in your head, they think you're a crazy person. They'll like, the way we respond to somebody who's just walking down the street ranting, that's how they see us, is just walking down the street ranting. But the more we can quiet ourselves, quiet the egoic mind, quiet the monkey mind, quiet the chatter, and just be present in the moment, then animals start to recognize us as another animal and maybe not a completely unbalanced one. So that's the riff on the cats. Deb says, happy belated birthday, Sam. Thank you. Yes, it was my birthday yesterday. And I had a fantastic day. I'm not much of a one for celebrations or for birthdays, mine or anybody else's, but it was a really lovely, lovely time. Good. Anything anybody wants to say or share? Crystal says, so glad to hear you had a great birthday. I did. Hi. There's Monica. Hi, Monica. How are you? Yeah, anything that's on your mind, on your heart. Mariah says, walking the wild world just now, can't find it. It's Martha Beck, B-E-C-K. That's probably not quite the title. It's something like that, though. Martha Beck, B-E-K. Yeah, if you don't know Martha's work, she's great. Martin says, happy birthday. Thank you very much. Happy unbirthday to all of you whose birthday it is not. So one of the things that came up I was at dinner with some friends that I've had for a long time last night. And, we know each other well enough that we know a lot of the quirks of each other's minds. For example, one of my friends has a sort of little mental habit of breaking up. I'm not quite sure how he does it. He breaks up sentences by syllables so he can tell you where the halfway mark is in any sentence. Isn't that funny? I have another friend who, he was talking about how when he was a kid, a very young kid, like 3 or 4, he could recite the alphabet backwards as fast as he could forwards. And it was partly because he saw it in a square. So it's like A, B, C, D, E, F, like, so he just had, it wasn't 26 letters, it was just this square of, whatever, 8 letters apiece or something. And I was remembering another friend of mine who saw the year as a grid. So January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, right? So she always knew when 6 months away was because she saw it that way. And I just am so amazed that we have these little quirks of the mind. And, it's never occurred to me to imagine the year, the months of the year that way, or the letters of the alphabet that way, or to hear the sounds of a sentence and mentally separate the syllables of each side of them. But it's also never occurred to me to feel, super drawn to marine science or to, Chinese pottery or to, whatever the things that people are into. I think that's so interesting that we're sort of born with these particular little talents and skills and interests, right? We have this, you have this moment. You all had a moment where you saw, ballet, you saw somebody repairing a car engine and you were like, yes, that, I'm interested in that. Show me more about that. I can do that. Right? And it feels like it's part of our patterning, right? Like it's part of our destiny. I think it's amazing when people fall in love with things that are sort of outside their regular circumstances. A woman in rural Texas who falls in love with Italian opera, or, fascinated by medieval poetry, or, I just love that. And I think it's such an invitation. Because when you have that natural inclination to something, it's easy for you. I remember doing a play when I was maybe 7 or 8 years old called Hattie's Hat Shop. It was at summer camp. It was at Camp Weehawkee in Wisconsin. And I played Hattie. And I remember the counselor who was directing the play asking me if I wanted to make a note about my blocking, right, where you move on stage on a given line. And I was like, no, like, why would I? Like, it seemed so incredibly obvious to me that, like, of course I would come in and cross to the desk and do this and be like, and she was like, are you working on memorizing your lines? And I was like, no, like, I know my lines. Doesn't everybody know their lines? Isn't this easy for everyone? Like, I didn't know that everyone couldn't just get up on stage and act. So I bring this up partly because it fascinates me, and it's on, like I said, it's on my long list of questions for God. Like, what is up with that? But I want you to think about the things that speak to you, the quirks of your mind, the interests and inclinations and I don't know, I feel like there are things, and I think we tend to not notice them because we sort of feel like, oh, well, isn't everybody like this? Can't everyone do this? No, they can't. And the fact that it comes so easily to you, I think is what part of what's important about that. It's part of what's important about that. Deb says it's called Finding Your Way in a Wild New World by Martha Beck. Good, thank you. Mariah says, I've been aware of how our words manifest things, how we become creators by speaking things into existence. This is making my writing all the more sacred to me, and it is making me more mindful of my speaking and more grateful for those who pray with me. So thank you so much for seeding our minds with prayer that invokes love and connection in the present moment. My pleasure, Mariah. Yeah, it's very... I think it's one of the things that the personal development world has gotten both right and wrong. It is true, we create our world with our thoughts. We create our world with our thoughts because the way we think about things leads us to behave in certain ways. The way we behave creates our results. Thoughts, behavior, results. Thoughts, behavior, results. Where I think personal development gets it wrong is in this idea that we create everything in the world, you know. But how we respond to everything in the world is what makes our world. And I think it is worth being kind of disciplined about that. I've taken great care in the last bunch of years to not say, oh, I can't afford that, or I don't have time for that, but rather to say, I'm choosing not to spend money on that right now, or I don't feel like buying that right now. I just said the other day, like, I needed a new hairdryer. I was talking to my sister about it, who also needs a new hairdryer because we lead parallel lives. And I said, yeah, so I was doing a little internet research, and there's the world of $300 hairdryers, which is sort of fascinating. But really, I just wasn't in the mood to spend $300 on a hairdryer. Which seems to me to be a much more empowering stance than like, I can't spend $300 on a hairdryer, or it's wrong to spend $300 on a hairdryer. I spent $25 on a hairdryer. I'll let you know how it goes. Deb says, beautifully said, Mariah. There's always a moment of choice. How we choose to frame or reframe an experience leads directly to our emotional reality. Right, and yet we still get so caught in our stories, don't we? And we can see so easily how other people are keeping themselves imprisoned. I remember having dinner with a friend. She had just gotten a really good part in a really exciting project. And the whole dinner, she just kept saying, well, I just hope they don't fire me. I just hope they don't fire me. I'm not sure my knee can do this choreography. I just hope they don't fire me. And I thought, oh, dude, you are so going to get fired. And she did. Now, like, did she create that happening? You know, like cast a spell? A little bit, maybe. But I think it's more that, you know, she just kept her focus so much on failing that failing is all she noticed, and when all you're noticing is your failure, then all anybody else is going to notice is your failure. Something like that. It was hard to watch. Hi, Star. Martin says happy birthday. Thank you. What else? What's going on for you? Where are you creating stories that are standing in your way? What's holding you up? Yeah, Deb says she exuded the vibe of I can't do this. Yeah. And it's so where are you doing that? Where are you doing this? Because this isn't a story about my friend who got fired. This is a story about you firing you, about me firing me. Where have you fired yourself lately? Where have you said, oh, I don't think I can do this, or I'm not sure they want me for this? I'm putting together a project. You'll find out more about it soon, but it involves me reaching out to some pretty high-profile people, some very high-profile people. And as I was talking to the team about it, and I started to feel shy. I was like, feeling really shy about inviting this person to participate in this. And then as soon as the sentence was out of my mouth, I went, oh, except of course they're just going to say no, which is fine. Like, then I felt fine. Once I was sure they were going to say no to me, I felt fine. Which of course, we'll see if they say yes or no. But for some reason, framing it as like, oh, I'm sure that's never going to happen, like that made it easier for me. So where are you firing yourself in a positive way? Where are you firing yourself in a self-restricting way? Lynn says, by not making choices. Yeah, I see that a lot. I see that a lot. You know, I mean, I talk to hundreds of creatives every week, thousands and thousands over the years, and staying in this space of, oh, I'm not sure, or I haven't decided, or I'm not really sure that's the right thing, or I have an idea, but I don't really think I can do it. I think it's the number one thing that stands in the way of art making it into the world. It's not that other people don't appreciate art. It's not that art doesn't pay. It's not that people don't value creativity. It's that you stop yourself. You're sitting there driving a car with your foot on the brake and the gas at the same time. I want to, but I can't. I want to, but I don't think I can. I want to, but I don't think I can. And this is what I was saying earlier about this way your brain is, the fact that you have the idea, the fact that you have your idea, that's it. That is your engraved, personalized, vellum printed invitation from God. Nobody else has that idea. Not in your way. And I think it's Elizabeth Gilbert who pointed out that, like, the chatter in your head that says that you can't is the same chatter that everybody has. I'm not sure I'm up to it. What if it costs me too much? What if I make a fool of myself? What if I fail? What if I succeed? Oh my God. Like, that's everybody. Everybody has that feeling. That's like, oh, I get up high and I get scared. Of course you do. Everybody does. Heights are supposed to scare you. That's what heights do. Like, that's self-preservation kicking in. It's the part of your brain that says, oh, let's keep her safe, right? So to understand that, like, this big, long chatter that everybody else has is ignorable because it's what everybody has. This one little idea that only you have, that's the thing to pay attention to because only you have it. And even if, 1,000 other people also have the idea, they're not going to express it in the same way. They're not going to use the same language. And at no point has the world ever said, like, oh, I've read Romeo and Juliet. I don't need to see another love story. I've read all the, parenting books. I don't need any more help on parenting. No, parents have never said that. There's always new parents who need something held to them in a new way. The world has never said, that's it, too many beautiful things. Stop, enough with the talent. It's never happened. And that little seed, I'm not saying that every idea you have is going to pop out and make you $1 million. Maybe it will. But it's an invitation for you to grow. It's not even so much doing the work, it's who do you become because you do the work? Who do you become because you do the work? Who do you become because you stand up to those voices in your head that say you're not good enough? Who do you become because you remake the story in your head that says, oh, I had a teacher in the 3rd grade who said I couldn't write? And then because you become that new person through that art, through the alchemy of art, that is the transformative power of art. It changes you as you're doing it, and then it changes other people as they participate in it. What influence does that have in the world? I think, oh, it's selfish. Oh, I don't have time. But it's the opposite of selfish. You are becoming a more fuller expression of yourself. You are embodying the soul of the art that's inside you. It's what you're here for. It's love in action, right? Love is showing up. Love is taking action. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not pushy. So your idea shows up to you being so patient. Your idea has been so patient and so kind with you. And you've just sat there and talked shit about it. So where is that invitation for you? And who will you become when you move out of the not making choices and into, I'll take 15 minutes. I'll try this for 15 minutes. For 15 minutes, I'm going to be a person who runs scales. For 15 minutes, I'm going to be a person who draws or writes a letter or communicates with animals or whatever it is you do. Good. Let's see, we've got a lot of comments here. Lauren says, the universe is always listening. I'm so careful how I phrase things, but at the same time, I notice when I'm not having a good day, I feel like my lower self seems to take over somewhat from how I'm talking to myself in my head, and I notice I'm rebelling in my head, if that makes any sense. This is a good one, Sam. Yeah, and I want to be very careful about not being like super precious. Like there's no reason to be like the fucking language police here, you know. There's a lot of good comedy in talking smack. There's, you know, it's okay to let yourself have a tantrum. It's okay to let yourself, you know, just whine and cry and be petty and small and I'm never going to make it. Everything sucks. And, you know, like, let it out. Let it out. You know, it's like, oh, I can't express myself that way. And seeing Andre, I'm like, oh, I don't want to swear in prayer time. Fuck that. You know, it's okay. You know, we're looking for the fullest expression of ourselves. And so to be having a crappy day and go, this is an incredibly crappy day, and just sink into the crappiness of it. Like, yeah, just let, you know, and see if you can find other people to share and celebrate the crappiness. You know, again, that idea that like, oh, I'm creating my reality because I'm not thinking about things properly. That kind of shit makes me very tired. All right. Sonia says, so frustrated when I have to miss the prayer. Not to worry. It's posted on the Facebook page. It's on the YouTube channel. You can go check it out anytime. Make your own prayer. You were here in spirit. It's fine. She's happy to join now, and everyone's comments are so on point here. Doing my best to better monitor my thoughts in the last year, although ensuring that I don't actually verbalize the concerns or negative thoughts has been a bit easier than addressing the initial thoughts. Missed the birthday date info here, but happy belated fellow Aquarian, I'm assuming. I'm actually a Pisces. I have Aquarius rising. I'm actually 3 degrees Pisces, but thank you. Yeah, I mean, again, I think the value is in truthfulness, right? So some of you may have heard or read in Start Right Where You Are, my thing about nothing bad is happening. When especially when I get frustrated, things aren't going the way I think they should be. And then I get reminded, okay, nothing bad is happening. Nothing bad is happening. So what is happening? Like, what's the right word? What's the right language for what's happening? Oh, something disappointing is happening. Something that's not what I would planned is happening. Something that is a values conflict for me is happening. I was thinking about values conflict earlier this morning, actually, because I was actually thinking about that, driving with your foot on the gas and the brake at the same time, and thinking like, oh, if you have got an idea that says, oh, I want to publish a book, and at the same time a value or self-belief that says, I can't do that, like, then you're in a values conflict and it's very challenging for you to move forward. So you need to really look at what are the values that are motivating your decisions. Like, what am I believing about this? And use it as a point of inquiry and prayer. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough to what? I'm too old to do that. I'm too old to do that in the way that a young person would do it. I'm too old to do that 20 years ago. I'm too young to do it tomorrow. Like, get interested. Your mind's very malleable. It'll go wherever you want it to go. So, yeah, so there's some balance between being very intentional and firm with ourselves and very relaxed and enjoying the malleability of language. Lauren says, as soon as I notice how the voices in my head are talking to me, I have a phrase I say, oh, that's interesting. Uncreate and delete all that. Sure, if that works for you, that's great. Tricia says, somehow I got the idea that thinking of the worst possibility and dodging it was a measure of intelligence instead of the resistance that it actually is. Safety is such an illusion in this life. Yeah. This thing of imagining the worst possible thing, this is a thing. It's called catastrophic thinking. And it's what we do, you know, your friend is 15 minutes late and you immediately assume they're dead in a ditch. Or, you know, you imagine the worst possible outcome. And it's this little psychological trick we play with ourselves. And it's easy to get caught up in that, or to think that it's real, or to think that there's some honor in braving that. Although I will tell you a story one time about, I had an audition, and it was a really important audition. I mean, I guess they're all important, but it was for a big part in a new TV series, and you know, it was kind of a big deal for me to be at this audition. And I got really nervous, and I don't usually get nervous at auditions, but this one I was getting really uptight. I could feel my energy getting out of control, right? And I wasn't having that oh, I get to act feeling. I was having that anxiety feeling. And so I thought to myself, okay, what's the worst thing I could do? Like, what's the worst way this could go? And suddenly I had this image of myself, and I thought, I could put on a banana suit and cry. And the idea of me, you guys may not know this, but I'm almost 6 feet tall. So the idea of me, this 6 foot tall woman dressed in a banana suit in the office of a casting director with tears pouring down my face was about the funniest thing I'd ever heard in my whole life. And I cracked up about it for like 10 minutes, and then I was fine. And I think about that still, like, what's the worst thing that could happen? I could put on a banana suit and cry. So, you know, there's a way in which catastrophic thinking is designed to protect you. And safety is an illusion. Safety is an illusion. Safety is an illusion. You find your safety within. Safety is not an experience we get from outside. Safety is an experience we have from inside. So, yes, it is not something external that keeps you safe. Your parents don't keep you safe. Love doesn't keep you safe. Having a steady job doesn't keep you safe. Eating macrobiotic food doesn't keep you safe. Nothing. Your safety comes from inside. Lauren says, that's helpful. Thank you, Sam. 15-minute increments to keep moving forward into the life I dream about. Yep. 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 Deb says, the crank attacks. Yeah, it's good. Let yourself be cranky. Sonia says, really great email, Ray, the Get It Done workshop the other day, by the way. Well, thank you very much. Yes, Get It Done starts next week. You can go to Monster Get It Done if you're interested in that. Here, I'll put that in the chat. There's Monster Get It Done. It's really cheap and super fun and satisfaction guaranteed, or your money cheerfully refunded. Okay, let me look on the Facebook page and see if there's, Star says, thinking of a banana suit. It's beyond funny. I know. I can't tell you how much joy I've gotten from that image over the years. Claudette says, at work, when something goes wrong, we blame ourselves and undervalue our self-worth because we don't want to offend others or make excuses. Yeah, and again, that you know, that desire to please the group, to be of service to the group, to matter to the group, we're tribal. That's our thing. Like, that's the number one thing. It's like, I don't care about what other people think. Yeah, you do. Of course you do. It's a survival mechanism. But I also notice that most people don't notice 90% of what you do. Like, you think what you're doing is having such a huge impact, and frankly, most people are paying attention to themselves. They're not really paying attention to you. So be a good boss to yourself, right? You screw up at work, then you say, I screwed up. I screwed up here at work. Here's what I did wrong. Here's the way I'm going to correct it in the future. You know, here are my apologies. And then you move on. Be a good boss. Star says how to move through frustration. Yeah, so frustration is a great word. I can't remember where I got this from. Maybe my friend Sam Christensen. But frustration is a word. It's a word I hear a lot, and I hear it. I feel like I hear it especially from women. But it's that thing of like I'm frustrated, or I'm disappointed, or I'm just a little upset. I feel like it's always kind of a minimizing word. And the thing that I got, I think, from Sam Christensen is that frustration is the daughter of anger and impotence. Anger and impotence. So when I hear the word frustrated, or I catch myself saying that I'm frustrated, I want to parse that out a little bit. Am I angry? Right? So let's stop minimizing. Oh, I'm just a little frustrated. No, I'm fucking furious. I am mad. I am angry. There is a pain that is happening to me because, something has happened that confronts, that's an insult to my value system, that hurts my feelings, that hurts the feelings of someone I love. Like, no, I'm mad. Like, let yourself be mad. Let yourself have the full range of that emotion. There's nothing wrong with being angry. You don't want to stay in anger any more than you want to stay in grief or stay in euphoria. Let it move through you, but it can't move through you if you don't experience it. So make some 5-minute art about it. Get that feeling out of your body. Stomp, beat the mattress with a wiffle bat, draw a picture of it, make a song about it, do a dance about it, get the feeling out of your body. Let it have form and shape in time and space. And then impotence. Are you really impotent? Is this in fact a circumstance over which you have no control? Because if it is a circumstance over which you have no control, then you might as well relax because you have no control, right? So, and that's a high level spiritual discipline, right? Releasing control over that over which we have no control. On the other hand, there may be some part of it you can control. And so to get back in touch with that, like, am I really impotent? Is there something I could be doing? Could I make a request here? Could I change the way I'm being in the world? Could I pay more or do this differently or find some other way around this? And if so, am I going to choose to do that? So you want to put yourself back in the driver's seat a little bit, back in a state of choice. And understand that, you have opportunities to do things differently. You may still not want to do them. You may choose to not, like, oh yeah, I could, I guess, throw a big tantrum, or I could, pay triple for, I don't know, whatever it is that's frustrating you. But I'm choosing not to. So then fine. Good. Jonathan says, becoming a fearless artist. Any thoughts? I don't think there's any such thing as a fearless artist. I've never heard of such a thing. I think that would be a little weird. What I think is important is to understand, to spend a little time maybe on what it is you're afraid of, and make some art about that. And get really specific. What are you really afraid of? What are you really afraid of? Right? I'm afraid that someone will snort and roll their eyes. I'm afraid that someone will call me an amateur. And then we go there. Again, you can make some art about that, about somebody snorting and rolling their eyes, or somebody saying that person's, you're an amateur. Say, okay, so there I am. I've made this art. Someone has called me an amateur. Now what? In some ways, I am an amateur, I've never done this thing before. Okay, I'm an amateur. And in the world of yes, there's not so much fear, right? When we can be in agreement with the world, there's not so much fear. I'm afraid I'll lose everything. Okay, make some art about losing everything. What would that look like? What would that feel like? What would that smell like? What's the sound of losing everything? The sound of the door as they close it behind you because you've been kicked out because you haven't paid rent in 9 months. You've lost everything. And now what? Now I'm just noticing how blue the sky is. Now I'm still here breathing. Maybe I'll start walking. Right? So again, it's a question of moving past that sort of generic wall of fear, that generic wall of I can't, and what if I fail, and what if I succeed, and who do I think I am, into the specific. And I'm here to tell you, the art that you make about your fear, about how your art is received, helps me. It helps me with my fear. So you don't ever have to show it to anybody, but you can. I have a thing I made. Oh, it's up there. I'll post it maybe. I drew my little monsters one time. Things I was afraid of, insignificance, and one of them says, "Little Miss Perfect has no hands." It's a drawing of a woman with no hands. And that's when I realized that might be the moment I got over my perfectionism, when I realized that my desire, that perfectionism has no hands. Perfectionism can't do anything. It can just sit there and judge everything. So yeah, I don't think there's any such thing as a fearless artist. I think to get into fearfulness more profoundly, though, take yourself a little more seriously and get in there, get underneath there. There's a lot of energy there. So yeah. Lauren says, I just dismiss the negative thoughts quietly and carry on. Yeah, that works. How about, oh, that's an interesting thought. I choose to think, perceive this differently now. Yeah, I've also gotten a lot of mileage out of the phrase, that's not my story. Especially when I'm hearing it from other people, like, oh, it's really hard to fill a class these days. Oh, you can't get people to pay for this. Oh, all the artists are just starving. You can't make money from creatives. But that's not my story. It's not my story. It's really hard to write a book. It's not my story. Might be your story. It's not my story. Martin says, honestly, I'm just researching my choices. I need to check things one more time. When I hit 10,000 items, I say in 2 more years, then I can rethink things and do more research. Yeah, getting ready to get ready. It's a lot of fun. There's a test, a thing, a diagnostic called the Kolbe, Kolbe, Kolbe. And it's super interesting. It's like Myers-Briggs or an IQ test or something. But what it measures is what they call your cognitive abilities. Cognitive was not a word I knew until I learned about Kolbe. My friend Angelique taught me about that. So your cognitive abilities are sort of, it's kind of the way you approach situations or work, kind of what are your go-to strategies for approaching a situation or work. And they have 4 styles, 4 patterns of behavior, and everybody scores somewhere on all of them. And there isn't a better or worse. There's just the way things sort of stack up for you. The first one has to do with research. Like how much fact-finding do you need to do? How much detail do you need? So if you're a 1 on FactFinder, like you are a research person, that's all you do. That's all you care about. If you're a 5, like I'm a 5 on the FactFinder thing, which I like to think is one of the things that makes me kind of a good teacher. Like I give enough detail that things are grounded, but not so much detail that they become tedious. If you're a 10 on FactFinder, then you're just Little Miss Pie in the sky. Like you don't need the details. It's all the big picture. So everybody's somewhere on that. And like I noticed that Luke, my beloved, my person, whenever I bring up anything, his first thing is like, well, let's look that up. he's getting a PhD. He's an academic. That's what he does, is he does research. So everybody's somewhere in the research. The next category has to do with systems. Like, we need a system for that. And those are the people who immediately, when you start talking about something, they start getting out a napkin and like graphing out the flow, the chart, right? And if you're high on both of those two things, it's easy to get into that loop of like, oh, I need to do some more research so I can make a perfect system. Oh, now that I've devised the system, I need to do some more research so I can make a more perfect system so that I can do some more research so I can, right? The third category, just to finish the story, is what they call quick start, which is where a lot of entrepreneurs are. And that's the whole, like, if you're a 10 on quick start, it's like, we jump off the building, build parachute on the way down. Or Angelique says the motto of the quick start is, how hard can it be? What's the worst that can happen? And I'm pretty high on quick start. So if you are one of those people who scores high in those first two categories, you want to hire someone or partner with someone who's a little bit more of a quick start, who's going to bring you more of that, let's just try it energy, right? Get you out of your cycle. On the other hand, if you're high on quick start, you want to get somebody who's going to say, wait, let's look into this for a second. And then the fourth category has to do with, they call it implementer, but they mean it like implements, like how much physical stuff do you need? Like, are you good with tools? Are you like chiropractors are high implementers? Like, you need to touch it and feel it and know what it is. So it's an interesting little, it's like $100. You should totally do it. It's especially good for work stuff. But yes, keep researching. Lynn says that she can really relate to that. Martin says, I've long loved learning about languages and scripts of the world, and have lately been making multilingual designs, like the birthday cake I sent you on your Facebook page. But I feel like I don't have a clue how to find a market for them beyond the marginal sales I get on Zazzle and Etsy. So I'll have to look for this. So here, do you know this, that Facebook does this? Like, so I got like 300 and something birthday wishes, and they just bury them on my timeline. Like, I have to go in and look for them and click on them individually. They don't all show up on my page. No, I don't know why that is, but I'm looking forward to seeing that today, Martin. Yeah, so the question is, what problem does it solve, right? The market is what problem, who has the problem that your multilingual designs solve? So who is the person who's looking for a gift that reflects a multilingual design? Who are the organizations that need a multilingual design? Who are the people who would be elevated or enraptured by that? And where are they hanging out? What are the other qualities they have? What are the other things they are into? And if you really don't know, just start putting it everywhere. Just start putting it every damn place and see who clicks, you know, like, something that's, you know, fairly esoteric like that. I don't know offhand, but I also have no gift for languages whatsoever, so I'm not a good person to ask. But yeah, I would just start putting it every damn place you can. Like, make stickers and put them on. Well, don't pollute the bus stop, but you know what I mean. Like, just put the designs every possible place you can see to put a design. Put it up in your window and put it on your desk and make them into 10 cards and hand them out to strangers, and just see, just start experimenting. Let the project pull you forward. Pat says, oh, here, wait, I'm gonna hop back to Facebook because I try to give everybody equal time. Star says, yes, I am angry, and we'll do some 5-minute art to process it. Thanks, Sam. Good. Yeah. In the world of yes, there is not so much fear. That's a great thought. Yeah, it's true. It's true. In the world of yes, we relax, right? And the truth is relaxing. The truth is relaxing. That's what they mean when they say the truth will set you free. There's freedom in the truth. So when you find yourself all crunched up and you are believing a lie. There is something present that's a lie. And the minute you get the truth, like, oh, that's right, I'm angry. I say yes to angry, and then you can relax. And then probably you're not so much angry. Colby, yes, I'm a quick start. Yeah, me too. I'm pretty high on quick start. Jonathan's great. I can use this test as part of my hiring process. Yes, KOLBE, and it's here. LBE.com. Also, I should give you guys the Monster Get It Done, just in case you're interested in Get It Done. And this is, yeah, it's great for hiring the Colby. Okay. Pat says, I'm going to be 69 in April. And when was in late 40s, when I got fired from teaching, literally was too creative and doing pioneering things that are recognized and done now. Creative genius husband passed 4 years ago. Wish you were around in my 40s. You are supportive, validating now, and now, when putting self into action. Deciding how to use all I know for me and others is essential. 15-minute increments, yes. Yes, did join group. Oh, great. Oh, good, Pat. I'm so excited to see you and Get It Done. That's going to be so fun. Yeah, you know, so yeah, you get to be ahead of your time, and there's probably other ways in which you were way behind your own time too. So, yeah, we released the story that it was ever supposed to be any other way that it is, because this is the way that it is, so it must be right. And I know more people who are 69 and 79 who are kicking ass. Like, I don't know who said like 50 is the new 30, but I think 70 is the new 20. Like, you guys are just up to some amazing, inspiring things. And you know, there's so much money and so much opportunity and so many ways to say yes to yourself in the world. And I think there's something about, you know, the older we get, the more we realize, like, oh, I'm only here for a minute. I'm only here for a minute. So what do I want to do with this minute? How do I want to celebrate this minute? How do I want to honor all my friends whose minutes have run out? They're not here to do their work. So how can I fill up my day? How can I fill up this moment? How can I express the love that's in my heart, the images that are in my mind, the work I want to do? How can I get it out? Because when you go, it's gone. Deb says, spending a lifetime being overly concerned about what others think, only to discover they're not thinking about me at all. Oh, the irony. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I've had that experience a number of times where I thought, people are going to be so devastated. I'm letting everyone down. And it's only to find out that really no one cares. Or they care for a minute. They're like, oh no. And then they're over it. So yeah, living your life to please others is, it's just not a very efficient process. It's just not a good strategy. If it worked, that would be great. Like if you could please others and then they would be really pleased and then you could be pleased that they were so pleased, that would be great. But it doesn't work. Sonia says, great comments. Researching options and rumination. Ray, same as my life, which is what happens when I'm researching. Yeah, if you guys know you're tempted to fall down the research rabbit hole, just discipline yourself. Set the timer, knock it off. It's easy for me to say, right? Just don't do that anymore. Lauren says, I love that, Sam. It's not my story. I'm totally going to use that phrase now. Thank you. Yeah, it's not my story. Oh, it's so hard to do this. Really? That's not my story. My sister's here. Hi, Lola. Martin, Tricia says, Martin, what about college campuses, language arts conventions, birthday cards for academics? Yeah, see? Get it out into the world. You'd be amazed what happens. Good. Well, we're almost at the top of the hour, and I don't want to keep you too much longer. So let's pray again, huh? Lynn says, totally. I'm in my 80s and find each minute important. That's why I get annoyed with myself when I waste time not making choices. Any choice is better than no choice. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, practice making more choices. Practice being more decisive. Just about stuff that, you know, just drive a different way to work. Just let your intuition drive you there. Just order the first thing you see on the menu. Wear the first thing you pull out of the closet. Just decide. Just decide. There's not a better or worse. No one cares. No one's watching. You know, move on to something more, something better. So let's let's open together. This has been great. I love having this time talking with you guys. Thank you for being here. Please invite a friend. Sony says, you're one of the very few things that I do not research, by the way. Good. Yeah, you can really, you know way more than you think you know. You're flash thinking. If you haven't read, Daniel Kahneman wrote a book called Thinking Fast and Slow that is excellent. Also, Malcolm Gladwell's book, Blink, is very good. But our ability to assess a situation and choose a course of action is again, it's a survival mechanism. That's why we're still here. So you can trust that a little bit. And if you make a crappy decision, then make another decision. Right? That's what we're here for. To live through our lives. Not to live a perfect life. I feel it coming on. You ready? Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Great creative spirit, Mother, Father, God, we are here imperfectly your children, walking this earth in the best way we know how, one foot in front of the other, not knowing the journey and giving up the illusion that there is anything to know. We feel our heart beating in our chest. We feel the air moving in and out of our body. We feel our muscles as they tense and relax. We eat and we sleep and we laugh and we make things and we cherish this precious, precious life. We know we can't do it wrong. There is no misstep in this world. And we are obedient. We are obedient to the call of our body that says rest. We are obedient to the compassionate spirit that says, shh, soften, soften, listen. And when the great ideas get delivered, the little ideas get delivered, we listen. We accept delivery. We do not refuse delivery at the door. We accept delivery. We write down the idea. We sketch out the idea. We talk about the idea. We dance out the idea. We let the idea come into this breathing world and we notice how it changes us. We share it with someone and we notice how it changes them. And then we are changed by their change. Our creativity, our divinely inspired creativity, the creativity that is divine, that is from some higher other place. We know it doesn't come from inside us. It arrives from outside of us as a gift. As a gift. We give our gifts. We do not judge our gifts. We do not lock our gifts away in a drawer. We do not punish our gifts. We do not compare our gifts. We share them. We give them. We say, this is what I have. I hope it is helpful to you. This is what I have. I hope it makes you laugh. This is what I have. And I'm going to squeeze it all out of me. Because I know that the more creative I am, the more creative I am. The more I do my art, the more art there is to do. The more love I have, the more love I have to give. The more I express, the more there is to be expressed. The more swiftly I move through my self-doubt, the more swiftly I move through my fear of criticism and judgment, the more swiftly I move into results. The more work I can do, the bigger reach I can have, the more help I can give. So today we lean back. We feel the warmth, the heat of the creative fire. It can't go away. You can't put it out. You can't diminish it. It is always faithful to you. Your creativity is always faithful to you. It will never abandon you. It has never let you down. Just like God. You cannot get away. You are held in the warm embrace of your creativity forever. You can trust it. You can say, I accept the faith that my creativity has in me. I accept the faith that my creativity has in me. I accept the faith that God has in me. I accept the faith that other people have in me. And I take the next right action and the next right action and the next right action. And I notice what happens. And I am so grateful for this wonderful opportunity to fail, for this wonderful opportunity to look foolish, for this wonderful opportunity to have unexpected things happen. I know what happens when I stay in the prison of my mind. I know how that story goes. And in this moment, for this time, for today, I say, that's not my story. And I sink into the truth of my real story. I feel you sinking into the truth of your real story. You relax into it. You feel your shoulders dropping and your belly relaxing. It's here, it's always been here. It's here, it's always been here. Amen. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. Join Get It Done if you want. And I'll see you next Friday. Bye.